All right, thank you. So up next, we have a visionary who is driven by the passion to revolutionize the pillars of construction. Representing a name that is synonymous with power and precision, we have the CEO of Hilti North America, Mike McGowan, who's going to give us insights on making construction better. So please, a round of applause.
Good morning, everyone. First, I want to thank the team at Building Transformations for allowing us to be a part of today's discussion. As mentioned, I'm their region head and CEO for Hilti North America. I'm honored to actually work for this company, and I'm honored to actually serve this industry. Just going to tell you a quick thing about Hilti. We have a core purpose, and our core purpose is making construction better. We started the company 82 years ago. We were actually founded in a small country called Liechtenstein. We are now in about 127 countries around the world. We have 32,000 employees, and we are solely focused on this industry. We don't make toasters and blenders and vacuums and car parts. Everything we do is solely focused on this industry. We made two strategic choices after we made the decision to serve this industry. We said that we wanted to be highly differentiated. We want to bring innovation to the industry to make the industry better. And the second thing we said is we wanted to deal directly with our customers. And that there's a massive expense, obviously, with dealing directly with your customers versus going through distribution. But we see it as competitive advantage. The advantage is that if we meet with people that are in the industry, we understand your pain points, it allows us to develop relevant solutions to those problems and bring them back to you to help you implement. Also, with a direct team, we're able to help you with adoption. You know, all of us invest in technology in our businesses, but the challenge is if it's not adopted, then it was wasted money. So by having nearly 20,000 people that work in the field on your job sites every day around the country and around the world, we feel like we can help you adopt that technology. We also spend about $500 million annually on research and development. That's just idea generation for the main problems that are faced in the construction industry. So why construction? Why did we choose this industry to focus on? I want to tell you that the work you do matters. I fundamentally believe that this is one of the most important industries on the planet. Now, we could argue education and healthcare are very important, but think about what you do every single day. You actually impact every person on the planet. And how so? You build the houses that people live in. You build the buildings that they work in, the hospitals that their loved ones are cared for. You build the roads and bridges that all of us use to drive on every single day. The work you do matters. It's super important. But we understand that your job is not easy. You face an enormous amount of challenges and an enormous amount of risk. We also know that in the industry, we have a big impact on the environment. They estimate that about 35 to 40% of greenhouse gas emissions come from this industry. Additionally, we understand that with increasing regulation, increasing project complexity, decreasing timelines to get the work done, the jobs get more and more complex for all of you. Obviously, the industry is facing enormous health and safety risks. They're everywhere on your projects. And as a result of that, we have a lot of people that are leaving the industry far too early. And as Lena mentioned, we have a lot of younger people that aren't viewing this industry as one that they want to enter into, which is crazy because this industry matters. Without all of you, without you taking the risk every day, every year that you do, where would we be? You build our communities, you build our societies, and the men and women that do the work, we fundamentally believe that these people at the end of the day should be able to go home and have meaningful lives with their friends and families versus coming home physically exhausted and drained. Lena mentioned this statistic. There's 20,000 job openings in Ontario alone and 500,000 job openings in the United States right now in the construction industry. In the US in particular, the average age of a tradesperson is 56 years old, and every year that number goes up, and that should frighten all of us. Why? Because the reality is the work you do is very heavily human capital dependent. You know, I was meeting with a large contractor in North America, and he gave me this quote, that basically jobs are won in the office, but money is made on the project, and our projects are very human capital intensive, and it really comes down to the number of hours that we can execute on a project, and if it's under budget or over budget. Now, this study is from the Organization on Economic Cooperative Development, and this is probably not new to all of you, but if we look at this industry compared to other industries, and on this chart here, I just removed most industries except for manufacturing and agriculture, you can see that over the past 20 years, despite the innovations that have come, there is actually less output per dollar of input in the construction industry. Now, in manufacturing, it makes a lot of sense. Manufacturing adopted technology, adopted robotics. And, if you think about it, 20 years ago, an assembly line was a group of workers that would assemble components and pass it to the next person. Today, you go into an automobile plant and everything's done by robots. If we think about agricultural, 20 years ago, if you wanted to process a field, you would send 20 workers into the field to process the field. Today, you have one person operating in a large combine that's steered by GPS satellites. Now, while technology has advanced in construction, the reality is that there's low adoption, and we're not leveraging digitization to the level that we need to actually change the trajectory of this curve. This data on the right-hand side, this is an Engineering News Record study that was done a few years ago. And what they did is they did time studies, and they actually went out and watched tradespeople perform their work, and they realized that a third of a tradesperson day is actually spent performing the work, what I might call wrench time. 70% of their day was actually disrupted with other things like finding material, finding manpower, communicating reports back to the office, working with the general contractor, getting updated plans. So making them massively inefficient during the process of their day. Now, what we fundamentally believe is that technology can increase that craft person's time, their wrench time, if we're able to compress that inefficient time, those inefficient workflow processes that exist today. And how do we do that? Well, you're going to see some great exhibitors outside. Lena just made a comment about some of the work that they're doing with virtual design and BIM. This is obviously a great opportunity, but it requires a lot of coordination up front. It requires us to change our processes in the way we think about attacking projects. It means that all of the trades that are going to be working on the project have to collaborate together to get the real value and benefit out of this. But BIM and digital layout, virtual design and construction is an enormous productivity gain if we change the workflow up front and put more effort and energy into better coordination. At Hilti, we're investing heavily in the technology to take your data from your model and bring it out to your project, and then also take your as-built world and bring it back into your model with things like reality capture, as well as total stations and layout. The other thing that happens is if you do good, accurate modeling, it allows you to move a lot of your production off-site and get into prefabrication. At Hilti, we actually now are investing in doing BIM modeling and also digital design and engineering for things like fire stop systems on your projects, as well as pipe racks, so multi-trade racks, or actually just pipe stands and standard pipe racks. You see a photo here. This is something that we designed, we modeled for the client. We actually then cut, kitted, and pre-manufactured and sent out to their project for installation. By doing this type of application, what it does is it frees up the worker on the site to do other important tasks, and we just ship this material to them and they install it in place. Talking about digitizing processes, all of us that work in an office environment, could you imagine actually doing your business without the software that you have to work? It's amazing that 30 years ago, 40 years ago, we weren't leveraging software and we were running our companies, but we were massively inefficient. Today in the office, I don't know that I could actually perform my job or have my team perform their work without the benefit of software. But the reality is on the job site, many of the workflows are still paper-based or massively inefficient. And so there's a huge opportunity to leverage some great software technologies from other companies as well as Hilti to actually make your processes on your project far more efficient. Now, I'll tell you where we're focusing our investment. We're focused our software development on three things. It's asset management. So we meet with contractors all the time that tell us they feel like they're buying more things than they need to actually operate their business. And we can confirm that. We've actually done case studies with customers where we understand that contractors are buying 25 to 35% more assets to run their work than they actually need. And the reason is because they don't know where their things are. So we're developing software capabilities to digitize this process so you know where your things are and you can move them to your projects based upon need. Second area that we're working on is workforce management. And then the third piece is project management. As I said at the beginning, projects are won in the office, but money is made on the job site. We're investing in software technologies to allow the office and the job site to collaborate in real time, assign tasks, report daily activity, and look at changes in your model in real time and also track progress. So these are areas that we're investing in, and there's a lot of companies that are investing in other ways to help digitize your workflow. Okay, so now let's get into the part that you probably know Hilti about. Maybe the stuff I just talked about is maybe new for you, but yes, it's also relatively new for us. But let's talk about the actual hardware that we make and where we're making investments to drive productivity, safety, and also help with sustainability for the industry. We feel if we can take that 30% of the tradesperson's work time and actually increase that to 40, 50, maybe even 60%, and then we can actually find more efficient ways for them to execute the work, we can drive productivity and allow you to get more done with less workers and maybe even less skilled workers than you historically have. So what do we do here to make you more productive? Well, we understand that you bid your work in work packages. And then what we do is we look at those work packages and we define the application steps that are required, and we try to look at the step from end to end, from the time you're positioning it to the time you're installing it and completing the application. And so we're investing in technologies like robotics, and there's a lot of companies that are working on the space of robotics. You'll see some out in the forum when we leave the session this morning. One of the areas that we're looking at is we're looking at the highly repetitive, high risk, and health and safety applications to bring robotics there. Because this is the stuff that nobody wants to do. For example, this is the J-Bot, which you'll see outside. This is a robot for overhead drilling. Who wants to climb up on a ladder and drill in concrete and have that dust fall on their head the entire day for 8 hours a day? With this J-Bot robot, the tool can do about 700 holes per day. To put that in perspective, that would take a crew of 10 to 12 people to execute that same amount of work. The way this does this is it actually takes your data points from your model, and it actually, with the operator choosing which hole it wants to drill, it will actually locate and drill the hole and then mark it for you so that you can come back and do your installation after the fact. And we're working on other robotic technology, just I can't share that with you at this point in time. The second thing is smart sensors. So we're starting to put sensors in a lot of our hardware to give you real-time data on health of the application. And in this example you see here, this is a concrete sensor that you can put in before you do your pours. This actually will help you monitor temperature and actually concrete strength. And we feel that this will actually speed up your production on your projects by about 2 days. The next area is further human augmentation. This is an exoskeleton. So these overhead applications that workers have to do, you typically hear about neck injuries, shoulder injuries, and back injuries on job sites. So what we're doing with the exoskeleton is we're trying to find ways to reduce the load by about 55% for the applications that you do overhead. You can see this is an application where a drywall contractor is attaching board on a ceiling, wearing our exoskeleton. We're also investing in smart tools. So we understand that skilled tradespeople are harder and harder to find, and some of the applications that you do are life safety applications. So we're now taking our anchors, and we have this is a picture of an impact wrench with an adaptive torque control. You basically scan the box of anchors, the tool identifies the anchor, and then it sets the torque setting on the tool to ensure that the anchor bolt or the nut is actually torqued to the proper setting, so it's done right the first time. And we'll continue to develop further intelligent systems that work with our tools and our anchoring systems to simplify installation. This is a picture of our newest battery technology. This battery technology actually has a unique value proposition. We basically want to take smart tools to the next level. These tools will actually tell you location, usage, and utilization for all of your tools and your projects. So basically, every time you pull the trigger on one of these tools, it writes code to the battery. When you plug the battery into the charger, it transmits the information to the cloud, and then your offices would know how many assets you have, how many assets are being used, how many are sitting idle, who might be hoarding tools on a job site that don't need them any longer, that would allow you to reposition them onto a project where they can actually make you money. But that's another technology that we have today and will continue to expand. And then finally, the other area that we're working on is we understand that cords on a job site are a hazard. They're a trip hazard, they're an OSHA fine hazard, and they're a huge drain on productivity. If you think about it, 15 minutes in the morning rolling out cords, probably 30 minutes during the course of the day moving cords, and at the end of the day, 15 minutes of wrapping up the cords, because you don't want to lose the cord and you don't want the cord to be damaged because they cost a lot of money. Now, we're not unique in this. Most companies have been trying to crack the code on how do you actually make a truly cordless job site. We spent $250 million and 8 years investment trying to solve this problem. And the problem that existed is on light-duty applications, you want a small tool with a small battery, but for big applications like cutting and breaking concrete, you need a lot of power, which means big batteries. Hilti and many of our competitors were cracking this code with different voltages. And so you can see there's 18 volt, 22 volt, 36 volt, 40 volt, 60 volt, and 72 volt batteries. But the reality is that creates an enormous amount of complexity. What we were able to do with this $250 million investment and 8 years of research was we actually are now able to run a screw into drywall and cut and break concrete. And when I say cut concrete, we can cut concrete faster than a gas saw, and we can break concrete faster than a corded tool on the exact same battery. So that's the technology that we just launched last year called Neuron. And we'll continue to expand that to actually make a completely cordless job site. As I mentioned at the outset, we spend $500 million annually on research and development. This is just idea generation. And what do we look at? As I said, you bid your work in work packages, but you execute the work through a series of applications. We say, one, can we eliminate steps from the process? And in the picture above, you see a chemical anchor. We were the first company to develop the technology that no longer required cleaning the holes for setting a chemical anchor. So we eliminated a step. Second thing is with the remaining steps, can we speed those steps up? You see a picture here of a core rig doing a wall core hole. That core rig, once it's set up, does the hole by itself, allowing the worker to go position the next place for drilling. And the core rig will start, change speed, finish the drilling, shut off the water all by itself. You simply set it up and turn it on and walk away. And then finally, we want to simplify steps. We would like you to be able to allocate your most skilled technicians to the more critical applications on your job. And so we want to always try to simplify the steps that remain. And in the picture you have there, you have our decking tool. That's a mechanical fastening. It's essentially pulling a trigger and making an attachment of metal deck to structural steel that will give you the same holding value as a 3/4 inch puddle weld. Doing a 3/4 inch puddle weld takes a skilled technician. Operating this tool can be a low-cost laborer. You just have to teach them how to squeeze the trigger. So these are the things that we're working on. We fundamentally believe that this industry matters. We think it's one of the most important industries on the planet. We are highly appreciative of the risk that you take every single day, and we are fully committed to serving this industry and this industry alone. We do not make products for the homeowner, the do-it-yourselfer. Everything we make is for the commercial industry in construction. And we believe that with technology, we can increase productivity in this trade, which gives you more predictable outcomes. We can improve safety on your jobs because we fundamentally believe that the men and women that build our country have the right to go home at the end of the day and live good, meaningful lives. And then we also think that we can help you on your sustainability journey. And I'm happy to talk to you more about sustainability if you catch me in the rotations, but don't have time today to go deeper here. And we feel like we're just getting started. So we actually are working on other things that you heard Lena mention. We're working on augmented reality. We're working on additional robots, digital exoskeletons, and also additional software platforms to make you more efficient as you continue on your journey in this industry. So in closing, I'd just like to thank Jerry and the entire team here at Building Transformations for putting this workshop together and allowing Hilti to be a part of it. As I said, we are really honored to serve this industry. We are really proud of the work that you do every single day. And we've got to find a way to attract more young people into this industry because this industry is important. Not just because of the economic activity that it provides, but because it builds all of our communities that we live in every day. Thank you very much for your attention today, and I look forward to spending the rest of the afternoon with you. Thank you.